What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and yeah, this is going to be a crazy night here. We just got a bunch of info in regards to the 9.5 anniversary. Now, remember, this is only the first step of the 9.5 anniversary. There's going to be another section to this anniversary on the 12th of November, so look forward to that. But starting things off strong, we've got 3 Sugo Fest exclusives to talk about in this video. I'm probably going to split it up between 3 separate videos because there's a lot to talk about here. So the first one here is a brand new Shanks, but I believe this is going to be considered as a Shanks crew unit, so all of the characters are kind of included here, which is actually kind of a bad thing because it means you can't use like Beckman, Yasop, Lucky Roo supports attached to this character, I believe. So that's going to be kind of trash if that is the case, but I guess we'll wait and see. But I'm pretty sure most people kind of predicted that this is going to be the case. So let's go ahead and talk about what this character actually does. So first thing is first, Shanks is just a character by himself. As I said, it is not a crew-based unit, but he may consider the other crewmates as a part of his crew, which could be bad. As we said, you know, it means for supports and also just for characters using him on his crew. Actually, let's have a look at the characters that are required. Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, it still says that you could use for his Super Tandem, Beckman, Lucky Roo. I'm sure that doesn't count all of his crewmates as this one unit. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. But either way, this character is a Cerebral Free Spirit, which is pretty fair. Most people would kind of predict that, so I don't have any issues with that. He's a Super Tandem, which is interesting, considering, you know, we had Uta, who came out recently, who was also Super Tandem, so I think that's kind of weird that we have another Super Tandem, considering the other Sugo Fest exclusive to come out, which is the new Luffy, who's a Final Tap unit. I would have thought that with these 3 coming out, that one would have been Rush, one would have been Final Tap, one would have been Super Tandem, but that's not going to be the case. But let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk about the Captain ability here. Captain ability gives -2 cooldown at the start of the quest, which I love. Cerebral Free Spirit Fighter and Slasher Captain, 5.5 with a matching slot, 5.25 otherwise, 1.3 HP, Dex Recovery Tandem a matching, and reduces Special Reverse by 10 turns. So that's pretty cool. I like that he has the inbuilt unique mechanic there. Remember that we have Uta, you can use her as a captain, and she is Despair reducing as a captain, and this character now reduces Special Reverse, so pretty good. And then also says that reduces their own special cooldown by 3 turns every time another Cerebral or Free Spirit character, or a Free Spirit or Cerebral crewmate specifically, uses a special. This effect can be activated up to 8 times total per quest, up to 4 times in a single turn. This is pretty cool. So this is very reminiscent of Film Red Snake Man, who had a similar effect where you had, you know, characters that were Straw Hats or Shanks or Uta, and if you use their special, it fully charges the Luffy special, so it's very similar to that. Captain ability wise, I don't have really any complaints. It seems good. You've got good cooldown, decent multipliers, matching slots, good utility, and then an added effect to get more cooldown on this character's own kit. So I don't see any issues with it thus far. Let's move on to the special. So the special ability completely removes defense down immunity on all enemies, sets defense to 0 for 2 turns, ignoring immunity to defense down or immunity to all status effects, so that's pretty good. So he just removes defense down for no reason because he guarantees the defense down effect. He also locks crew slots for 1 turn. And if the crew has an orb boost when you launch the special, he sets the chain multiplier to 1.5 multiplicative buff for 2 turns, and further increases the orb boost by 0.5. But if you don't have an orb boost, then he still gives you a 2.75 orb boost to Cerebral Free Spirit Fighter Slasher for 2 turns. It seems pretty good, actually. Seems pretty good, because the orb block is always going to happen, so guaranteed defense down, orb lock, and orb boost, but he doesn't give a defense down conditional boost, so I wonder if his super class is going to do that. I hope that is the case. His crewmate ability here reduces his cooldown by 1 turn at the start of the quest. Oh, that's for the whole crew, actually. That's pretty good. And then reduces his cooldown by 2 turns every time another strength or psi character uses a special. I can see this character being used as a captain or as a crewmate. He seems pretty solid, actually. Defense down through immunity is incredibly valuable. It can be used in a lot of different scenarios. Like if the enemy has really crazy defense up, you can just use this to get around that, as well as providing an orb boost. And so this character just seems generically good. It doesn't seem like it's going to be like the most broken unit in the game, but it just seems just very, very solid. Support effect to any Cerebral unit. Once per quest, if the supported character uses a special to reduce cooldown, changes the supported character slot to matching and give that character -1 cooldown. It's not a great support, I'll admit. I don't think it's going to be that useful, just generating a matching slot and -1 cooldown. Not a big fan of the support. I think it's a little bit, it's a poorly designed support effect in my opinion. The superclass. So you've got Luffy, Beckman, Lucky, Roo, Yasop, Rockstar, Lime Juice, Hongo, Gab, Building Snake, Bonk Punch, Monster, Uta, Katakuri, my boy, Mr. Slam Jam Katakuri, and Kobe. And the effect completely removes their own despair. Boosts Cerebral Free Spirit, Fighter Slasher, Chain Multiplier, Tap Time, and Growth Rate by up to 0.6 per perfect. So that is pretty good, because if you hit a perfect normally, you get a 0.3 increase. So this basically doubles the chain that you would get from a perfect. And changes top row slots, including block, into recovery, middle row slots, and bottom row slots to tandem. So the slot change, interesting. The way that this is worded makes it seem like the top row goes through block slots, but the middle and bottom row don't. So I think that's a little bit of a weird design. Just make them all go through block slots. I think it's a pretty good super type special though, or a super class special. Removing their own despair completely is pretty strong. So I guess in a way this character can kind of resist despair when you're inflicted with it. It's pretty cool. I don't really have too many complaints about it. Let's move on to the super tandem. So it's the same characters required, and the effect gives a 1.5 tandem attack boost to Psi Strength Cerebral Free Spirit, and gives a 1.5 multiplicative chain multiplier. That's a pretty bad super tandem. You do need 2 of the characters listed on the crew as well. Yeah, that's a pretty bad super tandem, honestly. I'm not a big fan of that. So I think he got kind of shafted in that matter. I think that the effect should have been at least a 2 times boost. And yes, it does boost a lot of characters, but 1.5 is pretty negligent. Not a big fan of that at all. I think that's a pretty bad design. The super class is great. The support effect is poorly designed. Crewmate ability is good. Captain is good. Special is good. So he has some good stuff going on. I think he's going to be a good legend. People are going to use him. I know my man Stump is going to be pretty hyped about this. His Stump loves Shanks, and it's his favorite character in One Piece. So I can definitely see Stump wanting to go all out and definitely play around with this guy. But that super tandem, I don't think this is a character you would go and farm a lot of dupes for to try and get. He just doesn't seem like that kind of guy, you know? But that's his normal kit. I think he seems pretty solid. No real massive complaints. There are a couple things that are poorly designed, but it seems okay. Let's move on to his PvP stuff. So remember, in PvP, he's going to be a Psi Cerebral Free Spirit, so he can be used in a lot of good teams. So the special, 29 CT is respectable. Psi teammates attack 7, speed 7, defense 7, and then enemies in a large range for 3.5 damage. After 50 seconds, targets all enemies for 3.2. Wow, he's going to hit really hard. And the fact that he's Psi Free Spirit too, like Psi Free Spirit are just so good in Rumble right now. I think it's pretty good. That special is really, really good. Really good. And the fact that he does give the buffs and then does the damage, like that a lot. Let's have a look at this Rumble ability. So he gives HP 6, Speed 6, Defense 5. Very good. And then if you have 5 teammates or less, 5 attack, 5 defense to himself. But then if you've got one of his crewmates, he gives himself level 5 CT speed increase. But at the same time, I don't see too many characters on this list that you would actively use in PvP, to be perfectly honest. So I think that sucks. But if you're able to apply it, level 5 CT speed increase for himself is very, very good. But still, 5 HP, speed, and defense, that's very good defensive effects here. Gives himself some attack and further defensive increase when you've got 5 teammates or less. He seems solid. I think this character could see play. Let's have a look at his GP. After 50 seconds, so it's not the greatest, and he targets teammates with HP 50% or below for a 70% heal. Quick Psi Int, shield level 10. That is the highest shield we've ever seen in the game, but it's only for 10 seconds. But then after 60 seconds, targets 3 enemies with high attack, ignoring defense for 3 times damage. That's probably going to kill something. That's a very big hit of damage that goes through defense. But then again, when Gear 5 exists, why would you ever use Gear 5 over this? I just don't know. And then you got his GP ability here. He gives buffs to Psi, defense, speed, HP, and then quick int to get attack, HP, crit. I mean, look, he's fine. He's a perfectly acceptable unit, but I feel like the most optimal versions of Psi Free Spirit teams probably won't use Shanks, as if you want to use the best version of this character, you probably want to try and utilize one of these characters listed in his Rumble ability, and none of these characters are characters you would actually use in Rumble alongside a character with this type and class combination. So that's the only really unfortunate thing about Shanks, the brand new Shanks character. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about this brand new Shanks character, guys. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think about him? He seems solid, but he doesn't seem super broken either. I was expecting a little bit more, but I do think the captain ability effect to make his special cooldown get additional cooldown every time another Cerebral or Free Spirit crewmate uses a special, I feel like that could be abused in a lot of really cool scenarios. What was his actual cooldown? It goes down to 12 with Limit Break expansion, so yeah, you just have to use quite a lot of specials to get that lowered, but again, if you have a character with double special launch, you could really make use of that effect for sure. That's going to wrap it up for me for Shanks. We're going to be uploading a couple more videos before I head off to bed tonight, talking about the new Luffy and the new category, so make sure to go ahead and stick around on the YouTube channel for that one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.